Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 36th part of What If Deku Had a Robot Wolf. I hope you enjoy. Link to the original story and author in the description. Chapter 36, Requests for Interns. Everyone, I would like to congratulate everyone on yet another successful UA Sports Festival, the Supreme Overlord of UA Nizu said with a smile, sitting at the head of the table, with the rest of the UA staff sitting around it. And I would like to once again welcome our new teachers into our little family we have here, he said, gesturing over towards the 4 members of the Wild Pussycats. Thank you, Nizu. Shino Sasaki, aka Mandalay, said with a slight bow. As the leader of the Wild Pussycats, I will do my best to fulfill my duties as UA's rescue training specialist to the best of my abilities. Ainin was well known and much loved within the rescue hero community. Her death was a tragic loss, she said with a frown. Ainin Kuroz was a very close friend of hers, and when she received news of her death, she didn't take it well. She was at first reluctant to accept this position, but Ainin was the one who convinced her to start doing summer camps. She owed it to her friend to pick up where she left off. I will try my best to live up to her expectations. Do not worry, Shino. I'm sure you will excel here, Nizu said with a friendly smile. I would not have sent you an application in the first place if I did not believe you could handle this job. I have faith that you and your teammates will do well here teaching the next generation of heroes. Thank you, Nizu, Shino said with a smile. We won't let you down, Ryuko Tsuchikawa, aka Pixie Bob added with a smile. We'll do our best, Tomoko Shiratoko, aka Ragdoll added with a smile. We'll do everything we can to live up to 13's expectations, Yuwara Chadora, aka Tiger added with a smile. I have faith that you 4 will do well here, Nizu said. He still felt that they could have been more prepared for the USJ, and then they wouldn't have lost Ainin. But, looking back on things, they were as prepared as they could have been with the information they had on hand. The League of Villains they were prepared for. Argonaut, however, was someone neither they nor the League were prepared for. So, now that you 3 are official teachers of UA, are there any questions you may have? Yes, I do have one small question, Tomoko said, raising a hand. Why have we never met Horigaramu in person? We've only ever met her holograms. That is because I'm a hyper-advanced alien AI tuber from outer space. Horigaramu said with a smile, enjoying the shocked looks on the faces of her new co-workers. Shota let out a tired sigh. She's an introvert who never leaves her room. Spoilsport. Horigaramu said, sounding annoyed. Shota leveled a glare towards the vice principal. No one is ever going to believe that you're an AI from outer space, especially since I keep finding your underpants in my sleeping bags. Please, stop using them. Stop leaving them lying around the place. Then Horigaramu groaned. You're no fun. Kanto, can I entertain some of the children in the daycare today? They're way more fun than Mr. Fun Killer over here. I see no reason why not to, Kanto replied. Wait, UA has a daycare? Shino inquired, sounding surprised. Indeed we do, Kanto said with a slight nod. It provides heroes in the area with a place where they can leave their children whilst out on patrol. Do you have any children of your own who you wish to put under my care? Well, I'm not married, Shino said before she used her quirk to send a private message to Shuichi. Yet. Help, Shuichi muttered out, a small blush appearing on his face. It did not help that he was sitting in between Ryuko and Namuri. But I do have someone who you can look after, Shino continued. My cousin Kota Izumi. I'm currently looking after him for his parents, the water hose duo, whilst they're recovering. Oh my, Namuri said, covering her mouth with her hand. Are they alright? They're fine, Shino replied, but it'll be a while before they recover from their run-in with Moonfish. That thing was a bloodthirsty monster, she said, refusing to call that cannibal a man. Can't be great, almost dying to 2 murderous psychos, Hizashi remarked, first muscular and now Moonfish. I'm just glad they survived. Yeah, but they'll be stuck in the hospital for a while. So in the meantime, I'm looking after their son, Shino said, but once they're out, I've agreed to assist them on the Dreadnut case. Dreadnut case? Kana said, sounding confused. Isn't that a retired British pro hero? It is, but it's not related to him, Shino replied. It's an odd and complicated case. How much do you know about the muscular incident from last year? Shota straightened himself out in his chair. That the water hose duo almost died fighting him. And then, just before he was about to kill them, something happened. In their own words, one moment he was standing over us, ready to kill us. The next, Muscular was dead. His death was apparently rather messy, he explained. Autopsy said he was killed by an internal steam explosion from the water in his body superheating into steam. Shino nodded. Well, the same thing happened to Moonfish. One moment he was about to kill them, the next, he was dead. Same bloody mess as Muscular was, she explained. In both incidents, it was obvious that time had passed between the two moments, probably a few minutes. And when they were questioned about it by a detective who had a lie detector quirk, they both witnessed the villain getting killed, but they don't remember it. It was like the memory of the incident was removed from their minds. The rest of the teachers nodded. This case was indeed very odd. A villain died before them to some unknown assailant, with all the witnesses in the area having no memory of what happened. Rather odd indeed, and concerning. If there was someone going around who could erase all memories of meeting him, then they would be a dangerous individual. So, we have a vigilante who's turning people into rat jam, and can make people forget seeing them, ectoplasm remarked. Fun. I'm sorry, rat jam? Sekijiro inquired. Sounds like someone needs to watch Torchwood, Higuri remarked. Seriously, even I get that reference. Well, at least it's limited to Japan, Hizashi said. It'll make finding the culprit easier. Yeah, about that, Shuichi said as he put several folders down on the table. This case isn't as isolated as we first thought. When Shino asked me to look into the case, I found a report of a similar incident occurring in China, he explained. Checking through the WHA's database, I found similar cases from all over the world, as well as missing person reports that may be linked to them. These cases were all put into a folder named Dreadnut. Doing a bit of digging, I found out why it was called that. There was a report of a villain attack in Rio, Brazil. One witness. The witness said he saw someone in a dark cloak standing over another man. He didn't fully understand what they were saying, but there was one thing they were able to make out: I am a dreadnought in service to. In service to who we don't know. The witness was already running away by then. When the witness guided a pro-hero to the area, they found no evidence of either of the people who were there. They had to bring in someone with an area replay quirk to confirm that there was more than one person in the area at the time. And even then it took weeks for them to find out that someone was killed there, and even longer to identify the victim. And this was 30 years ago. Since then the WHA has identified a possible 70 additional cases that may be related to it, spanning the last 50 years. The heroes all listened to Shuichi's report, and it was worrying. An unknown group of people were going about the world killing people, leaving behind almost no evidence. Going as far as to remove the memory of seeing them from people's minds. And this was happening worldwide, leading to the implication that there are multiple people doing this, and have been doing so for a long time. Okay, so this isn't an isolated thing. It's happening worldwide then, Hizashi remarked. That's worrying, and somewhat terrifying. So, if the WHA is aware of this, who's in charge of the global case? Namuri asked. Such a case would require one of their heroes to be in charge of it. That would be the pro-hero Clairvoyance, Shuichi replied. She's in overall charge of the case and is the only reason they have as much information about this as they have. Before she took on the case, they only had 4 confirmed incidents that were similar to the one in Brazil. I've already sent her an email inquiring about the case, I'm just waiting for a reply from her. Namuri smirked. Oh, Claire's the one in charge. Well, lucky for you, I'm a close friend of hers, she purred. I learned a few interesting things from her during the aftermath of the Dr. Necro incident. After I had recovered, of course. She's the one who convinced me to take pole dancing lessons from Succubus. Toshinori coughed up some blood. I'm sorry, what? I've met Clairvoyance before and she's a calm, resolved, and rather serious woman. She's not the kind of person who would engage in such, well, erotic activities. She is, but that's her whilst on duty, Namuri replied with a smirk. Once she gets off duty, however, she becomes a completely different woman. Shuichi's face hit the table. Why does this keep happening to him? Why does he keep ending up working for horny women? First, it was 2/4 of the wild pussycats, then it was UA with Midnight, and now it was Clairvoyance with this Dreadnought case. A part of him wondered why he had accepted this internship in the first place, to help a bunch of fake dash. He immediately killed that train of thought. No, not fake heroes. He was over that mentality. He's gotten his life sorted out, gone to university, get good grades, and is now working as an intern for a hero agency with the prospect of becoming a fully employed analyst. He was over his stain phase. Mr. ISA had helped him with that. Yes, the man was killed by a villain, but becoming a villain wouldn't help things and would only throw all the help that ISA had provided him to waste. And he was not going to shit on the memory of the one non-mutant man who tried to help him. He wasn't going to try and maim a hero. Alright, well, I appreciate the assistance, Shuichi said as he sat back up. You're welcome, Namuri purred, causing Shuichi to blush. Okay, maybe he could maim one hero. Maybe Midnight? No, that's a bad idea. She's a pro hero who has a nanocore and he's an untrained scrub with no weapon training whatsoever. He would not last long against her, or any of them for that matter. Well, looks like his suffering at the hands of a bunch of horny women will continue. Great. Well, whilst I am glad that you are helping out the water hose duo, please remember, you are now teachers of UA. Nizu said the students here should be your priority now. You can work on the case in your free time though, so don't feel like you have to completely abandon it. Shino nodded. Do not worry, sir, I won't let this distract me from my work. That's good to hear, Nizu said. By the way, have you already come up with what you're going to tell the press during the press conference? He asked. The press was already bombarding him with questions about hiring the wild pussycats, so a press conference was inevitable. Yes sir, we have, Shino replied. We believe we're prepared for any questions the press may ask us, especially about our summer camps. If anyone asks, we'll say our next camp will host the second-year hero students from CI Academy since that's already been arranged, Ryuko added. That's good to hear, Nizu said. The meeting carried on for a bit longer, covering other topics that would be important, like internships, lesson plans, and the midterms that will be happening a week after the students come back from internships. Once the meeting was adjourned, all the teachers departed or crawled into their sleeping bag in Shota's case. Nizu himself was making his way back to his office, standing on the holographic shoulders of Horigaramu. Such a useful member of staff she was. So, the WHA is making progress on the dreadnut case, Horigaramu said as they walked, having previously checked that there wasn't anyone else around to hear them. I'm surprised they've been able to make as much progress as they have. I wonder how long it'll take for them to finally encounter one. Probably never, Nizu replied with a smile, but then again, it's probably for the best. It'll lead them down a rabbit hole they're not ready to go down yet. Izumi smiled as she, Durandal and her classmates made their way to their classroom. The sports festival was over, all 3 years had competed, and now it was time for normal lessons to resume. Watching the other 2 years compete was fun, especially watching Nijire compete in the third-year festival. Okay, so she didn't win, but she did come second. It was amazing to see just how much she had improved since last year, as well as get an early warning as to how bad the inevitable ass-kicking she was going to unleash upon them was going to be. Spoiler alert, it was going to be painful. Of course, Nijire was slightly disappointed that she didn't win this year, but only slightly. The festival's winner, Mirio Togata, hero named Lemillion and one of Nijire's friends, took first place. It was impressive how much he had improved since last year. Nijire said that he had been interning with Sir Night-Eye, who helped him get more control over his quirk. Now he was a force of nature who was unstoppable in all 3 events. And he didn't flash the entire world this time. Of course, Nijire demanded to be snuggled by the entire Snuggle Squad in celebration of getting second place. And none of them were willing to deny her that. Even May had apparently joined in. Which felt weird and made things a bit cramped. Prompting Momo to say that she would get all the members of the Snuggle Squad larger beds. Only Achiko was reluctant to accept the offer, due to her refusal to accept handouts, but eventually relented, as it was obvious that even she needed a larger bed if the entire group wanted to snuggle in her room again. In other news, Shiharu had used her business skills to contact a company that designs, sells, promotes, and manufactures custom-made plushies, to make the official Durandal plush. In a few weeks, it'll be ready for pre-orders. Izumi wasn't exactly thrilled to be selling a mass-produced version of her plush, but after the sports festival and the sheer number of tweets of people inquiring about where they can buy the plush, it was inevitable that she was going to have to do this. Besides, there were bound to be people out there who would try and sell a fake or knockoff version. So, this way, people won't get scammed with an inferior product. Still, maybe bringing out the Durandal plush during the sports festival might have been a bad idea. Ugh, Mina groaned as they made their way towards class back to ordinary schoolwork. Great. Mina. We cannot neglect our schoolwork. Tenya said with one of his characteristic arm chops, this is important information we are learning here, we cannot afford to miss any of it. I know, Mina said with a sigh, I just wish it wasn't so damn hard. Well, in other news, I have managed to find the identity of the student who blew up the entire minefield. Nito said, you remember that student from general education who was talking shit about us out loud in the lunch hall? Well, turns out his quirk allows him to remotely detonate any explosive device, and increase their explosive potential by 3 times. Oh. I remember him. Inesa said before his face took on a more serious look. He tried to grab onto my leg at the start of the first round. Well, that explains all the random explosions that happened during the festival and the entrance exam, Izumi remarked as she sat down, notebook in hand, which definitely wasn't there before, but still, remote detonation of explosive devices. That's rather situational, nor suited for heroics. Can he make the bombs he detonates weaker? Well, I may have taken one of his hairs, without asking, and copied his quirk, without asking, Nito replied, and from what I could tell from the extensive experimentation I did with it, no, he can't make them weaker, only stronger. Well, there goes bomb disposal, Izumi said, closing her notebook. When you're dealing with bombs, the last thing you would want to do is blow it up. Especially if it's a very powerful bomb. Any idea how many villain points he got during the exam? Toru asked with a curious look on her face, not that anyone could see it. No idea, but probably not a lot, Nito replied, and I doubt he got any rescue points, owing to how many people were harmed by his quirk. I'm just surprised he was able to make it into UA in the first place, he said just as the bell went. Alright class, settle down, Kana said as she appeared behind the podium. That invisibility cloak of hers was starting to make a few students paranoid. I'm glad to see that you're all doing well after the sports festival, and it's good to see that you all followed Nizu and Horigurama's lesson on opposite well. Now then, as you all know, the sports festival wasn't just to allow you to show off. It also gave you an opportunity to impress the pros and receive internship requests. Now normally, first years like yourselves won't get many offers. You'd be lucky to get 100. But your year was different, with offers normally seen for third years, she said before she pressed a button and a list was projected onto the board behind her. Izumi Midoriya, 4,235/13,863. Achiko Uraraka, 3,836/8,634. Momo Yayorozu, 849. Koji Koda, 420. Mina Ashido, 142. Suyu Ajui, 69. Eijiro Kirishima, 45. Minoru Mineta, 3. Fumikichi Tokoyami, 1. Hitoshi Shinso, 1. Toru Hagakure, 1. The entire class looked up at the board with shocked eyes. The large number of internship offers some of them had received was amazing. Sue seemed to be smirking at the funny number of internships she received. Wow, way to wreck the curve, you two. Hanta remarked, looking over towards the blushing forms of Izumi and Achiko. Wait, what's with the second number next to the first? Momo asked, noting the second larger number next to Izumi and Achiko's names. Those are international offers you received, Kana replied. They are from heroes from around the globe who are interested in taking you on as an intern. Don't worry about them. Since your first years, you're not allowed to accept international internships, but that's saved until your third year. We just added them for formality's sake. Izumi looked up at the board, utterly flabbergasted by the number of internships she received. She was almost speechless. 4,235 internship offers, and that was just from Japan. She was glad she wasn't going to be given the global ones. She didn't even know that was a thing. "Huh, you got more than Toshinori did," a female voice said proudly, but, to be fair, he did only get 248. "Who did 8th intern with again?" the whispery voice asked. "No idea," the funky voice replied. "How am I going to choose someone to intern with?" Izumi thought. With so many offers, how was she going to pick one to go with? Wait, why was she panicking? She didn't know who had sent her internship requests, and she could get Durandal to help her reduce the number of forms she had to worry about. Most of those applications came from small-time heroes who just want her for internships to boost their own rankings. She doubts most of them could teach her anything useful. Anyway, for those of you who either don't have internship offers or believe that your offers aren't suited for you, UA has partnered up with 40 hero agencies to help provide you with experiences. KNet continued. The rest of the day up until lunch will be spent on working on this, and you will have until tomorrow to choose your internships. You can help each other with picking internships, but do focus on your own ones first. You will find that you have received emails with links to your internship forms. We're trying to save paper here, so only print off the internship forms you intend to apply for. I've booked one of the IT rooms for you to use if you need it, but I highly recommend that you do. The class nodded before they all got up and followed Kana out of the classroom and towards one of the IT rooms. Most of the class was fine with this, but those who had a lot of offers were sweating. It was going to take them a while to sort out theirs. It was a good thing then that Izumi had Durandal access to her email, both personal and school. So, by the time they reached the IT room, her mechanical companion had already filtered out all the useless internships and had provided her with a short list of potential internships that could help her and sent it to her phone. She checked through the list whilst she was logging on. She was surprised to find that she had received offers from half of the top 10, Ingenium, Daidoji, Ryukyu, Gurren and Burnin. There were also 27 other heroes who could help her develop her quirk. Well, quirks now, since she now has Gearshift to worry about. It was unfortunate that Sir Night-Eye was missing and couldn't send her an internship. She could really have used the help learning how to control Gearshift. But, sadly, you can't really send an internship when you're missing, and his sidekicks are sadly busy. If you want my advice, I'd go with Ingenium. Durandal recommended his quirk allows him to move fast, and he wears a powered exoskeleton. He can probably help teach you how to effectively fight whilst wearing me, he said before he sent a private message to Izumi and help with Gearshift. Izumi was hesitant to nod. Interning with Ingenium may be her best option. He is also the older brother of one of her classmates, and she was sure that Tenya may want to intern with his brother as well. But, she could still learn so much from him. Ah hell, she might as well. She's already met him before, and he wouldn't have sent her an internship offer unless there was something he could teach her. So, who you're going to pick? Achiko asked, sitting next to her. I'm thinking of going with Ingenium, Izumi replied. A wise choice, Izumi. Tenya said from the other side of the room, my brother can no doubt help you, especially when it comes to moving around and fighting whilst wearing Durandal. You did say you feel clunky whilst wearing him. Yeah, I did, Izumi said, glad that she was able to resolve that little issue thanks Tenya. Will you be interning with him as well? Sadly not. Tenya replied, my brother has not sent me an internship form, and I am limited to the 40 hero agencies UA has partnered with. But that's probably for the best. I see him regularly anyway, and I wouldn't learn anything from him that I do not already know. Besides, he advised me to intern with someone different so as to learn from other heroes. Well, that answers that question, Durandal remarked. Well, thanks for that, Tenya, Izumi said before she turned to Achiko. So, who are you planning to intern with? I'm not really sure, Achiko replied. I've got so many offers that I don't know who to choose from. But I have a general idea of what kind of internship I'm looking for. I want to intern with someone who can teach me how to fight, she said with a fierce look on her face, as a dark pink aura enveloped her. Oh okay, Izumi said with a sweat drop. Didn't you want to become a rescue hero? I did, still do in fact, Achiko replied with a frown. It's just that, with what happened during the dash, when 13 died, I can't help but think that I could have done something to help her. I need to be able to protect those around me, to be able to protect you. And right now my fighting style is just, well, me trying to slap my opponent and throw them around with my quirk. That's not something I can rely on. Right, I see, Izumi said as she nudged herself over to look at Achiko's offers. Thankfully they were listed by the hero's rank. You have one from Ryukyu, she said with a smile. Good, she could work with that. The Dragoon hero is a really good fighter and can teach you a lot about aerial combat, plus she has Nijire working for her as well. I'm sure you can learn a lot from them. The only thing the Gravity Girl had to worry about was Mirko showing up, as she had it on good authority that the rabbit hero liked to show up there from time to time. Achiko beamed. Oh, really? Thank you. So you are, looks like our bunny friend from the place that shall not be named, is offering an internship, Kyoka remarked with a smirk on her face. Is that wise? Hanta asked as he turned towards the teacher. I know she's an ex-villain and all, but is it really a good idea to put her in charge of teaching a student? It's part of her training for the Hero Improvement Program, Kana replied. Besides, you won't be alone with her. Horigaramu will be keeping an eye on things as well. Well, I know who I'm interning with, Kyoka said with a grin. This would serve two purposes, to get some answers from her as to how she became a hero so quickly and why, and hopefully, to get her to not panic in the presence of their class. Seriously, they've seen that woman 3 times already and each time she panicked at the sight of them. She needed to get that under control. Is that wise? Denki asked, sounding concerned. Someone gotta do it, Kyoka replied calmly. Might as well be me. Make sure you get some intel on her quirk for me, please? Izumi added, all the sources I can find on the internet about her say her quirk is called seduction, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's more like a cover for her real quirk. Clever girl, Kana thought with a smirk. She was going to have her meat bunny at one point. Izumi? Toru asked out loud, looking at the one internship form she had received. You wouldn't know who Shinigami is? Who? Izumi asked as she walked over to the invisible girl. Shinigami, Toru said, pointing at the screen there. The hero I received an internship from. No idea why. Izumi looked at the digital form on the screen. The name Shinigami was written on it. I don't know, she said. All I can tell you is that Shinigami is the name for our country's gods of death. Revel in the dark, Fumikage remarked. Wow, a hero you don't know about, Mina said, looking over the girl's shoulder. Well, of course there are going to be heroes that I don't know about, Izumi said, a slight blush on her face. She was trying her best to ignore the feeling of 2 soft things pressing against her back. I can't know everyone. Especially underground heroes. This Shinigami is probably an underground hero then, Durandal stated, a very deep underground hero by the looks of it. I can't find anything about a hero named Shinigami, only a vigilante going by the same name from 100 years ago, and even then those reports are rather vague. But then again, that's kind of the point for underground heroes. The less you know about them, the better. Okay, I see, Toru said nervously, but still, why would someone send me an internship? I didn't even make it to the 3rd round. Same with Fumikage and Hitoshi, and yet, we all received a single request. Who did you 2 even get anyway? Hawks, Fumikage replied. Mine's from Ms. Joke, Hitoshi added. He wasn't all too surprised by it. He did ask Eraserhead if he could help hook him up with an internship to help develop his quirk some more, since he didn't want to risk using it during the festival. He just didn't expect the man to actually help him with this, or for it to be from someone called Ms. Joke. I wonder why those 2 sent you 2 internships, Izumi wondered. Well, I recommend you 2 take those offers. I'm sure those 2 can teach you a lot. As for you, Toru, well, it's up to you if you want to take it or not. I don't know anything about this Shinigami, so I can't really help you there. I see, Toru said, sounding disappointed. Oh well, thanks for the help anyway. You're welcome, Izumi said before she turned towards the rest of the class. Anyone else needs help picking internships? Several hands were immediately raised. Looks like she was going to be busy. Chiharu sighed as she left her class and made her way to the principal's office. She did not know why she had been called to the principal's office. It was confusing, to say the least. As far as the blue-skinned girl knew, she had been an exemplary student. Well, apart from that time one of her classmates teamed up with a support student to try and trick the hero course girls into wearing cheerleader outfits. That pissed her off slightly. And then there's what she said to her mother, but that bitch deserved it. Still, she did not know why she had been told to report to the principal's office. She did have to admit to herself that she made a good call in calling dibs on Izumi so early on in the year. The green-haired girl lived up to her unstoppable title during the sports festival. She was extremely happy about that, as well as extremely smug that none of the other students in the management course can touch her now. "Hey, my layer," a hyperactive voice said loudly behind her. Chihiro sighed, recognizing the voice as Mei's, the crazy support student who she teamed up with during the second round. She turned around and yep, walking up behind her was Mei, alongside that robot of hers, Isaac. Mei, what are you doing here?" Chihiro asked. Reporting to the principal's office, Mei replied with a smile. "You were asked to report there as well?" Chihiro said, sounding surprised. Why was Mei asked to go there as well? Mei nodded yep. No idea why, but Powerloader Sensei just told me to report here. He also seemed to be nervous. Isaac added he was muttering oh god, whilst we were leaving and his heart rate skyrocketed. Right, Chihiro said, looking a bit confused. That didn't tell her why they had been called, but if Powerloader was dreading it, then it can't be good. Well, let's just go see the principal and see what this is all about. Also, why do you have Isaac with you? Emotional support robot. Mei replied. Of course, Chihiro said with a sigh. It did not take them long to reach the principal's office. Upon arriving at the office, Chihiro reached out to knock on the door, only for it to open automatically before she could knock on it. On the other side stood Vice Principal Horigaramu, but she was standing too far away from the door to have opened it. Ah, Shihara Kazuki, Mei Hatsum. Right on time, Horigaramu said with a smile. Please, do come in. Mei wasted no time in entering the room, followed by Isaac. Chihiro sighed as she followed them in, making her way over to the principal's desk and sitting down on one of the two chairs. Opposite them sat Nizu, the principal of UA, an all-powerful rat god, according to her seniors. Greetings you two, Nizu said with a smile. Am I a dog, or a mouse, or a bear? But more importantly, I'm the principal. Now then, now that you two are here, I believe you are wondering why you have been called here? You are, yeah, kind of, Chihiro said nervously. Well, it concerns your performance in the sports festival, Nizu said as Horigaramu placed down two folders in front of the two students, each one having the respective student's name on it. Now, I'm sure that you're both aware that the sports festival serves two purposes. The first is to help our hero course students show off their abilities and garner attention from pro heroes, and the second is to give those in the other course a chance to get onto the hero course. If they meet certain requirements, that is, he explained, we never made those requirements public, since if we did we risked people trying to game or exploit the system. And believe me, we have had people try and do that before. The requirements are as follows. The student in question must make it to the third round, they must win at least one fight during the third round, and they must have a minimum of 4 heroes they are not related to send them internship forms. If a student meets those requirements, we offer them the choice to move up to the hero course. And you two have more than met those requirements. Chiharu's jaw dropped. Did she hear that right? She met the requirements to get onto the hero course. How? She didn't even mean to get to the third round in the first place, she just found herself there, somehow, by accident. And now she's accidentally gotten the attention of more than 4 pro heroes. Mei meanwhile wasted no time in picking up the folder before her and opened it up. Inside was several internship forms, all labeled to her. Chihiro looked down at the folder before her before giddily picking it up and opening it. Inside were several internship forms from pro heroes who were interested in taking her on as a hero intern. Of course, due to you two being members of the support and management course, you can't exactly transfer to the hero course, Nizu continued, but that's why we sometimes allow students to take a more interdisciplinary role, if they want to, that is. By becoming a dual course student, you will supplement your original coursework by attending heroics lessons with both Class 1A and 1B, he explained. Of course, this is all optional. You are free to decline this offer if you like. This is only a courtesy we extend to all students who meet those requirements. But don't feel pressured to provide an answer right now. You have until tomorrow to make your decision. Do note that if you want to become heroes, you will have to come up with hero names as well. Horigaramu added. If you're having trouble deciding on hero names, you can always ask Midnight for help. Chiharu nodded as she continued to look at the folder. A quick count revealed that she had 12 internship forms. 12. 12 heroes had taken an interest in her and her potential as a hero. But why? Why did they send these to her? She wasn't in the hero course or general education. She was a management course student who had no interest in becoming a hero. Her job was to help manage heroes, not fight villains. And she doubts she could do that with her firecracker of a quirk. She looked down at her hand. No, not firecracker, she's better than that now. She understands how her quirk works now, she can use it for something other than fireworks now. She had never dreamed of becoming a hero, she was never interested in it after all. Plus her quirk was just too weak for that and she was more interested in the management side of things. But now, thanks to Izumi, she could use her quirk in a fight. She was stronger now, so much stronger than what those bastards at the care home called her. But, did she want to become a hero? Was she even capable of becoming one? She was a management course student. There had never been a dual course student from the management course before. So then Nizu said with a smile as the two girls looked back up at him, do you want to be heroes? Chiharu looked down at the folder in her hands once more, at the 12 internship forms that were held inside. She knew what her answer would be. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 37. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.